Every time that we listen to artists and they point us in a direction, we want to follow it because that's where they want to go, but we learn so much in the process.
With the Ultra 2, you guys are calling it the most advanced series in Fender's history. What does that mean in relationship to the Ultra 2?
Well, it's really kind of taking Leo's ethos of listening intently to working musicians. It's the body curve, the ability to register the higher register in the neck. It's the electronics. It's literally down to the height of the frets. Contemporary players like jumbo frets, they prefer stainless steel. You go through all of these things, and every single thing that was on their checklist is on that list. And we had to master some techniques. Making stainless steel frets, for example, in volume is not an easy thing to do. It might be easier for a boutique builder, but not for someone who's building at our scale. So one of the great things, I think another great example of it recently was Jack White's Stratocaster. That is the Swiss Army knife of Telecasters. And he posed a lot of challenges to us in terms of actually construction of the guitar that we'd never really come across. So every time that we listen to artists and they point us in a direction, we want to follow it because that's where they want to go, but we learn so much in the process. And I think that's really acknowledged back to your original question, it's really acknowledged by the committed player, maybe not so much by the beginning player. But the more committed players that you're a product, the more likely that first generation players will use it too.
What does it look like with the Ultra 2? Does it come to the decision that we need a new line and then you start doing research, or are you constantly collecting research, and when you have enough input, you go, okay, it's time for a new line?
Well, one of the things that a decision I made very early on when I joined the company was that, and again, informed by me being a pretty avid consumer coming in. So that very first guitar I bought from that book was an American Standard. And that was back in '84. So when I joined the company in 2000, the American Standard was still there. But I think for most people, they wouldn't have known that it had actually progressed, but the life cycle for the product was about 7 years. That's a long time. And one of the things I was intent on doing was creating growth for the industry. And I felt in order to do that, we needed to do two things. One is shorten the life cycle of the product to 4 years. And I'll explain why 4 in a moment, but also to spend a lot more money on marketing. We were a $400 million company back then. We were spending less than 5% on marketing, and all of it trade. So I used to describe new product introductions as trees falling in the forest. Nobody knew. So we set out to spend more money on marketing, spend it more on social media, driving customers to our dealers' stores and our websites. And we picked 4 because we felt that 7 was too long, but anything short of 4 was too short, because the dealer needed to kind of build up inventory and get out of inventory in a commercially viable manner. And that 4 years gave us the ability to absorb all of the intel that came in from the musicians that were using it, so that we then factored into the next iteration. So about 25% of our revenues now come from some new product that's introduced. And we think that's been a major factor for driving growth in the entire industry, just picking up the space of product innovation.
How do you collect that information, though, from the players? Are you constantly out searching it, or does it come to you guys?
As of this morning, we have relationships with 3,600 artists, and they are constantly giving us feedback in multiple ways. And then, of course, we learn from talking to artists who we develop signature models for, too. It's been interesting. The Acoustasonic guitar was a pretty radical breakthrough, which again, the brief for that guitar was very simple. Design an acoustic guitar that can be used on stage by contemporary musicians that Leo would have designed. So, that took us down to where the control should be placed, what the electronics should do. And, in that case, there's a lot of great acoustic guitars played by top-level artists. My feeling was what you got from those guitars is one great acoustic sound louder. But if you wanted to use it through effects pedals, which a lot of contemporary musicians do, that was a problem. And we felt that there was potential to actually have a much broader range of amplified sounds that would come out of an acoustic guitar using contemporary electronics. It would be easier for people to play. They could play it a little bit acoustically. They could play it a lot electrically. They could use effects pedals and never have any problem with feedback, that type of stuff. But that was very radical. And we introduced it right at the front end of COVID. So a lot of artists picked it up to use to record, but none of them were on stage. So I see the Acoustasonic, for example, as that's a 25, 50-year journey. And it's great to see Phineas and Jack White pick up the Acoustasonic this year and go, well, I love it. But again, same thing. I just like, if you just changed this, if you just gave me that, we're happy to do it.
Put a chorus feature in the Acoustasonic for Phineas.
That's right. Exactly right.
That'll work. Wait, when people are playing their Ultra 2s, I really want them to appreciate every element. Why are stainless steel frets? Why was that such a challenge for Fender to figure out?
It's not a challenge to do 1 or 2 or 3. It's a challenge to do the type of volume at consistently high quality, because it's a much more difficult manufacturing process.
When Jack White says, I want yellow Fender logos on my amp and everywhere, is that a huge pain in the ass, or how hard is that to pull off?
That in isolation wasn't that difficult. Matching all of the colors of white on a Stratocaster when you're dealing with plastic brush metal, that was
hard. That makes sense, actually. That would be hard.
It was, yeah.
How much time was spent figuring that out? Did you go through processes where you go, oh my God, it's a different color white? And then you go, crap, we got to figure this out.
Well, absolutely. And I was down for one of those meetings where, and Jack was great. On one hand, he's really pushing you to meet his expectations, but he's not like powder coating the bridge, the Bixby bridge on that was really difficult, because what we were concerned about is within 2 gigs. The powder coating is going to get scratched, and that's not really something. And he was like, "Okay, I get it." So we found ways to work around meeting his needs and actually being able to build something. I mean, another good example, one of my great guitar heroes right now is John Five. Making all white necks, painted white fretboards, not easy.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Why did you guys decide it was the right time to reissue the Buck Owens Strat? Because Bucks and Don Rich are 2 of my favorite players. But do other people care about those guitars, or are they so cool that it doesn't even matter if people have a connection to Buck Owens?
I think both.
Yeah.
We love going back through the history books and kind of doing collections of these type of products. And I think in this case it will be a blend of hardcore Buck fans and people who just like, oh, this is really cool. I need this.
Yeah. It's such a great guitar.